Okay, hello everybody. We are here for our Legacy Lounge in the Legacy Leader Collective. We're here for August. Um, and to our members, it's so lovely to see you. For anyone that's catching the replay or as a guest, a very warm welcome to you too. This is our monthly global community connection where I talk about the Wellness 360 theme of the month. So this month is all about water, and I'll dive into that. And and then we have a section that's after this overview where we open up for real connection, real conversation, because everything that I will go through for Wellness 360, it will show as part of your life in one way or another, and you'll see that as we start to get into the conversation. And so every month we meet global impact driven, career driven women who never get to prioritize themselves, or that's what it feels like sometimes. This is the place where you actually get to do that. This is the place where you actually get to just focus on you, where you get to connect with incredible global women who are leaders. And, we're doing big things. Some are running charities, some are running businesses, some are running multiple businesses. I think everyone is in the wellness industry personally because every single one of our businesses, every single thing that we do, it affects someone else's well being as well as ourselves. So this time is for you. I'm going to say that. Wellness 360 was created by the International Association of Wellness Professionals, where I am certified as a holistic life and wellness coach. What else was I going to say? Yes, I'm just going to say before we begin, let's just arrive in the room. And I always like to do, if you can, put both feet on the floor. And I'm going to invite you to take just 2 breaths with me. You don't have, there's no proper way to do this. It's just kind of, if you want to close your eyes, you can close your eyes. But the best thing I think is like breathing through the nose and then letting it out through the mouth. So we'll take sort of 2 breaths like this together, and then we'll dive in. So inhale and exhale. And inhale and exhale. And now we're in the room. It's incredible what 2 simple breaths, how that can just reset your whole system. And, when you breathe in, you're breathing in so much hope and love, and when you exhale, you're breathing out so much just release. Like, you may have noticed what came up for you. Maybe you were exhaling like relief or something else. But I love this as a way to set the intention for the next hour. You've made a choice to be here or listen to the replay. And wellness is all about choices. Consciously making choices that lead you to a happier, healthier, and more fulfilling life. So, as many of you know, and I know most of you have also been traveling, but I found myself constantly like looking for water. And I don't know about you guys, and maybe you can answer this in the chat for a second, but do you feel like you drink enough water as it is? Do you feel hydrated? You can have a yes or no. Can you say no? With all my best intentions, I have, a big glass of water, and then I'll finish what I'm doing and I'll still see it full. It won't move. And so water is something, especially the external layer, is something that I really have to consciously make an effort with. So, and I see this with a lot of successful women. Like we're rarely unaware of the things that really matter to us. And that's a great thing about the Wellness 360 is that you get to just check in with what actually matters to you right now, because things change on the fly with us because we are fast moving. We are change makers in here. And so the external layer is all about water, hydration. The internal layer, it represents emotions. And the third layer, the symbolic layer, or the energetic layer, as I like to call it, it speaks to flow, like the flow of your life, trust, relationship. This is Water 360. So let me get into each layer, and then I'll open it up for discussion. So I asked you guys, what are you actually drinking? Are you actually drinking enough water? A bit different with wine, though. That seems to go very quickly when the bottle is open. That is true, Katie. And what I would invite you to do is 1 glass of wine, 1 glass of water. I met a sommelier once, and she said that's the trick to never getting hungover. And I said, oh, okay. But yeah, like, I don't know if you know this, but I remember when I learned the water is actually made up of 99% of your body on a molecular level is all water. And if you think about that, it's quite something. Your skin is your biggest organ. That also needs a lot of hydration. But if you think about your days, it's essential to circulation, temperature regulation. And I know some of us are maybe experiencing different stages of menopause. Like I'm sweating over here. But it's temperature regulations, digestion, it's joints, your spinal health. I remember being on a yin yoga retreat certification, and I was so fascinated at how water has such an important function in your spine, let alone your organ function, influences your mood, fatigue. Like if you are the kind of person that gets headaches constantly, maybe you're hitting a 3 o'clock wall, that could be because you're not having enough water. And for us as successful women who need to be making decisions, and we need to be making decisions quite promptly. And, we need to have all of our wits about us. And we can't afford to be fatigued or, have lack of focus just from not drinking enough water. That is something so simple that we can incorporate in our day. And I'm not here to tell you how many glasses of water you need to drink, because it's different for everybody. It also matters, do you exercise a lot? Are you going to go play golf on the day? Like, are you traveling? So many factors influence how much you need to drink water. And I'll have this debate with people, and maybe you can chime in here, but drinking tea versus drinking coffee, are they hydrating you? I don't know. I feel like the jury is out on this one, but let me know in the chat if you have any thoughts on this. But this month is not like about carrying a huge bottle of water. It's just about really noticing, are you feeling dehydrated? Are you feeling hydrated? Do you feel like you're having a lot of water-rich foods? Like, I love cucumber, I love celery. I just got a juicer. I'm going to share with you some juicing recipes too. I'm not going hardcore, don't worry. And just simply noticing like where you are hydrating, basically, like having a glass of water beside you. I'm just having a moment to look at my notes to make sure I don't want to forget anything. So yeah, the body should not have to become inconvenient before it becomes important. That is just how I'm going to wrap up the external layer. The internal layer is all about emotion. So I'm not sure if you've ever heard this. Emotion is energy in motion. If you are someone who struggles to express emotion, or I'm just sharing that because I share from my personal experience, because that's where I can speak from the best. But holding grief and still making dinner, feeling disappointment and still hosting a chair meeting. Like, there are so many things that we have to do where we sometimes have to push our emotions aside to get things done. And I'm not saying that you should do this there's a way to do this that's still healthy. Um, it's all about being able to pinpoint your emotions, to feel it in the body, to understand where it's coming from, but to just feel it. There's so many. I always love to start the year with feel goals, because, we can all have goals of what we want to do and what we want to achieve, but how do you actually want to feel this year? So I'd be curious in the chat, what feelings are you maybe trying to protect, reveal, request? The other thing is that emotions will show up in the body. So tight hips, that's all about emotions. We tend to carry a lot of emotions in our hips as women. So if you're someone who has hip pain as well, reach out to me after, and we can also talk about that, because that could be something there. And if the feeling is too large, I mean, we've had there are big things that happen to us. We have health things, we have family things that come up, and Katie's just shared she's experiencing impatience, fear of failure, and also excitement. These are things that are constantly going through our minds. We have doubts, we have good days, we have bad days. I don't really like going into good and bad because it's just how it is in the moment. But when you're thinking about impatience and fear of failure and also excitement, it could be something where I'd be curious where you feel the impatience in your body, Katie. But maybe we can do that after, just because I'm conscious of time. The other thing I'll just say, there's wisdom in knowing when something deserves professional or private support. So in here, I'm here to guide you and host, on a Wellness 360 perspective. And there are so many experts in our collective that we can draw on when you need more. You've got Katie, who does the advisory council. She's got expansion circles. So when you need to dive in more to women, business, and systems, that she is there. For Tanya, she's got the PL Club. So if you're wanting to grow your wealth, or you have, I know she can speak to it better than I can, but it's about connections. It's about connections, it's about strategy, it's about wealth building. It's essentially a deal network that's special for Tanya. And Lorraine, she's just launched Prime, which is exciting. And Simone, you've got your accounting. So there's lots of things that we are doing, and that you have experts in the community for, whether it's relationships, career, finances, everything is here. But let me just share the symbolic layer, the flow, okay? Water 360, the energetic layer, is all about flow. And that is a testament. Like, I'll ask you guys, do you feel like your day ends and you don't even know where it went? I'm just curious.
Day? What about a week? I don't even know it's Monday and then it's Friday.
These are things that's so important to pay attention to, because it's an indication of how much you are in flow. There's also things where you feel like you're coming up to resistance quite a bit. You're trying to do something, and for whatever reason, it's just not happening. And sometimes you just need to take a step back you have to take a step back to take two steps forward, right? And there is a level of control here. And it's funny because I've worked with a lot of women who, maybe this was a few years ago when they were first sort of maybe in their more initial stages. But it was around structure and you know, it petrified some people to have structure in their day. Um, but actually, that is the true freedom, and we were talking about that earlier. Control is not the enemy. It's probably protected you, built your reputation, grown your wealth, kept your family safe, and helped you navigate complex seasons. But it's but a strength can become expensive when it is not when it is the only way we know how to move. And what I mean by that is control can build a successful life, but it cannot always help you inhabit it. And you will always have people in your life that you cannot control, right? Like you cannot control other people's minds, thoughts, emotions. And sometimes it drives us nuts, and we have to figure out what that is. There was a psychologist, Mahaley, I'm going to not say her last name properly, but Csikszentmihalyi use the word flow to describe deep absorption in an activity. So this also means like, are you being present in your day to day? And Lorraine, I know we've had a couple conversations about the importance of presence. It's that focused attention. You know, are we fully aware? Are we fully conscious of the decisions we're making, of how we're leading the life? And the what I'm going to just leave you guys with before we move into discussion is the work of Masaru Emoto. Has anyone heard of them? Him? No? What about Veda Austin? Okay, so these two have invited people to look at frozen water imagery and wonder whether water is more responsive than when we understand it. So if you've ever heard the story of the plants where you have a plant that you're talking very good, nice things to, I love you, you're beautiful, and then you have another plant where you're just speaking rubbish at, you're ugly. It's the same with water. Water, you can't see it clearly, but that's what's in this bottle. When you hold it to your heart and you say something like, I love you, you are changing the frequency of the water and you are drinking that water. In frozen water, when you speak badly to the water, it goes ugly. Like it changes molecular form. If you look at what happens with the one that's spoken positively, it's beautiful. It looks like a snowflake. So think of your water, like the water that lives in you. Don't you want it to look like a snowflake? Like, would you want it to be like beautiful and just like there's no snowflake that's different. But if water can show you that pattern, what patterns are we creating in a way that we speak to ourselves and we live with ourselves? So that's really what I want to leave you with when we're going to close out the water session. We talked about hydration, we talked about emotions, and we talked about flow. And what I can leave you with is a couple questions, and we're going to take this into discussion. But like, if you think of these, like my body is asking for ... What would she say? My emotions are showing me ... What would she say? So I'm going to leave it there, everybody. If you would like to, we're going to continue the conversation in our private community in Legacy Leader Collective. If you're not yet a member, reach out, join. I'll put the link somewhere around here that you can connect with me. And for those who weren't able to join live, you will probably get. I'll put the recording in our community as well. So I'm going to end it there. The recording. I will see you soon.